7:45, we're reconvening the meeting of the West Newbury Board of Selectmen. We were in the Selectmen's office for executive session, MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining and executive session minutes. I just want to start the meeting with a couple of announcements. The first of which is the Memorial Day Parade. It is May 29th, a week from today. The parade starts at 10:30. Ceremony will follow. The parade will be held in front of the library. All are invited to attend this special event. Second announcement is the Garden Club's annual plant.
2 weeks, not.
Oh, 2 weeks, the 29th. Sorry, misread that. Sorry, just trying to go too fast. Garden Club annual plant sale is Saturday, May 20th. That's this Saturday at 8:30 to 10 at the training field.
Rain or shine. If they don't have, if it's raining, they have it at the old town, well, the town hall, the old town hall. So it's no matter what.
In the old town hall, right. And then last, would like to offer congratulations to the police department for earning reaccreditation from the Massachusetts Police Accreditation Commission, and a special thanks to Sergeant Dan Cena and Officer Jay Johnson for the many hours they put into managing the certification or recertification process. So the first item on the agenda is Chief Reed.
She is actually the executive director for the Mass Accreditation.
Thank you for coming.
Good evening. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
I will. Thank you.
I've asked Donna to obviously come for a couple of minutes to give you the opportunity, A, to meet her, and B, if you had any questions about obviously what the process is, even though I've explained it quite a bit over the last year and a half. This is the department's second time being recertified. Sergeant Cena did it the first time when he was working with Chief Holmes, and since my landing here a year and a half ago, it was many of my goals to obviously get us recertified, and obviously eventually get us reaccredited. So on May 3rd, we went to a ceremony in Dover, Mass, where myself, Sergeant Cena, and Officer Johnson went to receive our recertification, the plaque, and more importantly, the letter, which I'll explain to you what the letter actually means.
So I'd like to know, tell us, is this usually something that happens with big departments? Is it unusual for a small department? Or I'm just curious about stuff like that.
Sure. We currently have 209 agencies that are participating in the program. We have 2 professional credentialing awards, certification, accreditation being the higher of the 2. And right now we have 116 agencies that are looking to achieve certification, that first award. The West Newbury Police Department is one of 23 that have already achieved certification, and then there's 70 that have pursued accreditation. In terms of the size,
Is this just Massachusetts?
It is just Massachusetts. We are one of about 27 agencies, states, that have state-level accreditation. And I would say, answering your question about the sizes of the agency, most of the departments are probably middle-sized agencies. I think it's unusual for a department of your size to be participating in the program just because of the amount of work involved.
You said that there are different agencies within the state, such as yourself, that does this accreditation? Is that what you said, or is it just one?
States. We are one of about 27 states that have state-level accreditation.
Oh, states.
States, sorry.
Okay.
Would you like me to continue?
Yeah, sure.
On May 3rd, as Chief Reed indicated, the Massachusetts Police Accreditation Commission recognized 22 agencies across the Commonwealth for both certification and accreditation. And I think you know, your department, the West Newbury Police Department, was one of those elite agencies. Achieving certification is a badge of honor. It's considered one of the best measures of a police department's compliance, adherence to professional standards. As you might imagine, it's not easy opening the doors to your department, inviting constructive criticism, and Your department has been doing that, as Chief Reed indicated, since 2013, when you first achieved certification. You continue to accept that challenge, and because of that, the Commission, as you know, awarded accreditation status, the prestigious status of certification to your department. So congratulations for a job well done. I'm here tonight to present the certificate of certification to you. I would like to say, although it is a department-wide effort, and I applaud all of the officers here for their input, their part in meeting the standards, because certification and accreditation standards affect every aspect of the department: patrol, communications, training, records, etc. And so this award really is a department award. That said, this is a great opportunity to recognize Chief Reed for his leadership role in the process. He probably doesn't know this, but later in the year, we have an annual event to recognize the chiefs of departments who were leading their department through certification and accreditation. So he'll be recognized for his leadership role, and that takes a lot of courage and confidence in your department. And lastly, the accreditation manager, that individual who manages the certification process day to day, lives and breathes the accreditation standards, and without Sergeant Dan Cena for his role in getting the department managing this, it would not have been possible. So job well done, Dan. I'm happy to answer any other questions if you would like me.
With what the director said, because of all the hard work that Sergeant Cena put into it, as well as all the other officers, we're automatically going to get a $625 check back from our insurance company. It's actually being processed right now because it costs us money to be part of the commission. Roughly costs us, I think it's $1,250, so we get about half of that back. So the check is in the mail. And additionally, our insurance company is going to give us a 1% award discount on our insurance policy for what the police department incurs for the town. I don't know what that 1% equals to in money, but we'll get an additional 1% because we're a certified agency, and once we become an accredited agency, it'll go up to 2%. And if we cover some of the other areas that we're probably going to cover anyways through certification or accreditation, we can get upwards of 8% back within 1 year. So it is worth it monetarily, but also because of the liability that's involved in obviously our profession.
Excellent.
And I would like to say thank you for supporting the department's efforts to participate in this program, because we know that there is some funding that's necessary to support the department's efforts. So thank you on behalf of the commission. I do have an award letter that supplements the certificate of certification, and it reads: Dear Chief Reed, it is my pleasure to confirm that on this date, May 3rd, the Massachusetts Police Accreditation Commission voted to award the prestigious status of recertification to the West Newbury Police Department. Certification status has been awarded through September 2019. The integrity vested in your department continues to presume functional compliance with program standards in between assessments, which includes complying with all new and amended standards adopted by the Commission. To assist you in your efforts to monitor standards compliance, please be advised that a scheduled midpoint review of selected time-sensitive standards will be conducted with your accreditation manager during this award period. Recertification demonstrates your department's ongoing commitment to delivering an exemplary level of police service in your community. As you know, it's a lot of hard work and a department-wide effort. We commend your department for its accomplishments and applaud you personally for your leadership role in the process. We look forward to working with you in your continuous pursuit of professional excellence. On behalf of the Commission, thank you for your participation in the program, and congratulations on a job well done.
Because obviously the award is not just for 1 or 2 people, it encompasses the whole police department. What each officer now will have to wear on his or her uniform is a special service ribbon that denotes that obviously West Newbury Police Department is now a certified agency. And obviously it's my plan as well as Sergeant Cena's plan in short order will certainly become an accredited agency. So as of tonight, each officer will be issued one of these and wear proudly on his uniform that we are now a certified agency, which is something that we haven't done before. So that kind of goes with, I guess, the whole package, so to speak. So, on behalf of Sergeant Cena, Sergeant Cena and myself, obviously to the town, we'd like to present the town this plaque of the hard work that obviously all the men and women from the police department achieved over the last, obviously 5 years, but obviously more importantly over the last year and a half, where we really went to town taking care of all the updates that we have to do to make our department 21st century. So again, on behalf of myself, Sergeant Cena, and the men and women that work for us, this is something that's going to we're proudly the body of safety and confidence for all of our businesses. So, again, we both appreciate the support.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
Excellent work. Thank you.
Nice.
For everybody.
That's all the executive director has, but why I guess I have the table, I'd like to, I'm not going to let it go when I have it.
Yeah, you need to speak right into that microphone.
Just turn it towards you.
This week, for those that don't know, is National Law Enforcement Week. A lot of police officers obviously go down to Washington, D.C. to obviously mourn the loss of fallen police officers before us. What a lot of departments have done, and what I've done from previous years, is made an awards commendation for the police departments that I've been the police chief, and I have carried that through, obviously, to the West Newbury. So I have a couple presentations that I would like to make tonight, and I've encompassed law enforcement as well as military service, whether you are in the Army or Marines, Air Force, or the Coast Guard, because obviously that's an honorable service as well as law enforcement is. So without further ado, since I have everybody's attention, I'm going to go.
You need to get that microphone with you, please.
Actually, I'll just sit down, make it easier for those that are being recognized. There's a number of different awards. There's about 8 different awards, but for tonight, the highest award that will be issued tonight is called the Chief's Achievement Award. And if people haven't figured out who's done the most amount of work over the last year and a half, will be Sergeant Cena. Tonight, Sergeant Cena is going to be awarded the Chief's Achievement Award, and this award is presented on the 15th day of May, 2017 to Sergeant Dan Cena of the West Newbury Police Department for his service and commitment to the department's professionalism. Over the last year, Sergeant Cena has led the department by dedicating an immense amount of time working on the department's certification process by preparing us for the annual certification approval, which obviously we already have as of May 3rd. This year was spent updating and implementing the department's policies to the 21st century policing techniques. His goal was to improve his hometown police department and bring better services and professionalism to his agency as well as ours. This is the second time the sergeant has taken on such a complex task and achieved it. Again, on May 3rd, 2017, the dedication of the award was done at the Connors Center in Dover, Mass. The Massachusetts Police Accreditation Commission Award was made to the West Newbury Police Department with his 3-year certificate. Without this dedication and leadership, Dan has demonstrated the certification would not have been possible, and I truly mean that. Without his leadership and ability to take on this complex task, it would never have been achieved in a timely manner. The Chief's Achievement Award is given to you, Dan Cena, for your successful completion of a complex project which brings great pride and credit to you and the department. Dan, I'd like you to come up and receive the department's first Chief's Achievement Award ribbon, which will be worn on your uniform.
I just want to thank the chief and everybody, members of the department. Like you said, this is a department-wide thing. It's not done just by one person. Obviously, I do put a lot of extra time and effort into it. It is not an easy process, which is why, as Donna stated, there's only a limited amount of departments that have achieved certification and accreditation. So I just want to thank the chief for recognizing my hard work throughout the past few years, and as well as the department members for the same. Thanks.
Thank you.
kind of a sidebar with Dan, the last month for him to try to get ready is actually kind of crazy. Officer Jay O'Neill was instrumental in helping the sergeant push forward a lot of the stuff that pertains to firearms and use of force. Officer Jay Johnson, excuse me, Jay Johnson.
That's what I thought you meant.
Yeah, we thought you
Officer
meant
Jay
Jay,
Johnson.
you said O'Neill.
He was also instrumental in obviously helping Sergeant Cena get all those type of SOPs and things that were obviously in his expertise field. So again, I certainly appreciate Officer Johnson's work behind the scenes in the last month of Dan trying to get that stuff done. The next award is a letter of recognition, and the letter of recognition goes to Officer Eric Forney. And this letter of recognition is presented on the 15th day of May, 2017 to Officer Eric Forney of the West Newbury Police Department for service and professionalism to the community. This goes back to on March 27th, 2016, which was about 2 months after I got hired as your police chief. Eric Forney responded to a call of a young girl who had fallen into a body of water here in West Newbury. Without hesitation, Officer Forney took over the CPR until the paramedics and fire personnel arrived on the scene to take over to assist him in reviving the young lady. Officer Forney then assisted in the investigation surrounding the circumstances of why the young girl had fallen into the local pond. He acted in the most professional manner despite the trying circumstances that were pushed onto him and all the other emergency workers of that day. This letter of recognition is being awarded to you, Eric Forney, for your display of professionalism and commitment to serve the community of West Newbury. Officer Forney. The next one goes to one of our dispatchers. Is a letter of recognition to Judy. Judy is unfortunately on vacation. This goes back to September of 2016, when a resident of West Newbury was lost in Andover. She became confused and unable to drive home. Judy took it upon herself after work in her own vehicle, drove to North Andover, picked up the resident in town, and brought her back home to where she lives here in town. That really epitomizes what a true committed professionalism of a worker of the town that we're looking for. And Judy was actually the first one that I had recognized, but again, because it's Law Enforcement Week, I thought it was called for to bring up again the outstanding professionalism that she portrayed that night, and it still does to this day. So I just wanted to remind the board of that. I'd also like to mention some of the other officers that have really gone above and beyond in the last year and a half since I've taken over as chief. I'd like to recognize Officer Mike Dwyer. Officer Dwyer was the second person that became an FTO officer, and because of his leadership and working with Officer Forney, Officer Dwyer really set up some really good scenario-based lessons of all the new reserves that are coming into the fold for our future police officers. So my hat's off to Officer Dwyer for the outstanding work and leadership that he portrayed when he was given the opportunity to become a field training officer. Again, many thanks to Officer Jay Johnson for helping Sergeant Cena with the certification process, especially around the firearms and use of force items. I'd like to thank Officer Danielle Burrell. It's not really in the SOP book, but I call it looking beyond the motor vehicle stop. She has a number of good arrests, primarily drug arrests, over the last couple of years, and I would love to recognize her for her ability to look beyond the motor vehicle stop. And she even goes even beyond that. She's assisted other police departments when she's recognized crimes being committed in her presence. Even when she's off duty, she assists those other agencies to obviously catch suspects. So again, that's somebody that we're looking for to stay within our police department. I want to thank Officer Rich Parento. Officer Parento is a new officer. I guess not quite the oldest now, Officer McGuire is, but when I first came here, Officer Parento really went beyond helping me truly understand the parameters of the dispatch center and obviously helping John Camerata when he became the lead dispatcher. Rich really stepped up and helped the transition with all those positions. So I certainly appreciate Officer Parento's time and energy to help me and obviously help everybody else. I want to thank Chris McGuire. He's still new. He'll probably be new for a while, but I certainly appreciate Chris taking the challenge and coming from New Hampshire and Merrimack Police to becoming our latest full-time police officer. And obviously, we expect nothing less than all the other officers that have come before him with obviously community and professionalism that all the others obviously bring to us. And last but certainly not least, I want to extend my appreciation to lead dispatcher John Camerata for all the work that he has brought the dispatch center and bringing that up to the places where it is now, and really leading in training and education for the dispatchers that are there. So my hat goes off to all the men and women that work for me, because without them, we would not have been able to achieve certainly certification or anything else that we've achieved in the last year and a half. And I appreciate the boards and the residents' support in the direction that we've been traveling in the last year and a half. One last thing, because I certainly believe that the military service is just as important, or equally as important. Part of the ribbon ceremony also goes to all armed services people, no matter what branch they are. So I would like to have Officer Jay Johnson to come up. He will be receiving a ribbon because he is a former Army, and I want him to wear this proudly on his uniform. The only other one in the service who has not been able to be here tonight is Reserve Officer Dan Richmond. He is I guess they don't call him former. I guess he'll always be part of the U.S. Marine Corps. He'll will proudly wear a ribbon designating the United States Marine Corps on his uniform. All the other officers, again, will receive these as we depart here. I know the board has other things and other business to go to tonight, and I appreciate the time that you gave me tonight to obviously award my officers due credit.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Thank you.
The Board of Selectmen wanted to, because we knew it was law enforcement week, and that with accreditation, we wanted to send some lunch, some food over to you guys. What's the best day or time? It can be for all the shifts. We just wanted to send something over and have it delivered.
I'm assuming Mary's probably going to be coordinating this? No? Okay. How about I'll talk with the guys.
Well, you can actually, you talk with her and then tell Mary, and then she'll tell me. Yeah.
I'll get with the guys after tonight and see what best works for everybody, and then.
And it'll be something that they can have, and they can put it in the refrigerator, and they can have multiple shifts. So it'll be
Okay.
good for a number of people. You can give Mary and like what time of the day.
Okay. No, we appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And it could be two things. It could be something delivered in the morning if they want about breakfast stuff, and then something in the afternoon for lunch stuff.
How about breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
There you go. No problem.
No, we
Okay.
appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Chief. After you're done, we had a couple of other agenda items that we wanted your
Yeah.
input. You want to come back when you're done?
Am I up next, or?
Well, if you want to give it.
I mean, I can wait.
Well, I don't want to hold up.
Well, I'll go out in the hallway with them, and then I'll come back in.
We'll
and-
move on.
Okay.
And when
Okay.
you come
Thank
back.
You come back and we'll put.
So let's move down to number 4, North Shore Tour de Cure.
How is this different than what we approved last year? Is it?
It is different. They've
It is.
greatly expanded their races.
Their footprint
There-
in West Newbury?
Yeah, it used to be, I think, just through South Street, one footprint. So they've done a number of things this year. They're going through Pike Bridge Road, which is a closed road. They're going through the Ash Street Swamp. There's another route. that
Indian
goes-
Hill.
Yeah, there's another route that goes from the Artichoke, from Newburyport, Middle Street, goes down 113 for a while, Bridge Street, and across to Merrimack. So it's very different. So I printed those myself. And one thing that I was concerned about was part of our special event guidelines require a hold harmless and indemnification language, but Mr. McCarron pointed out that if we don't charge a fee, which we normally would not, that part of MGL Chapter 21, Section 17C says that permits the public to use land such as Pikes Bridge Road for charitable purposes, and I'm just calling out parts of it, for charitable purposes without imposing a charge, shall not be liable for personal injuries, property damage, or property damage sustained by members of the public. So in other words, the town would have no liability, which was my concern if they're taking bicycles down Pikes Bridge Road.
How, have you been up there recently? No. Neither have I. Is there a gate across there?
Yes.
Yeah, but these are bicycles.
I know what they are.
I've ridden this exact route on my bike. It's totally doable.
Yeah, because, I mean, we had a person that waged a complaint on his bike out there when somebody was training their hunting dog.
Person did what?
If this does get used for bicycles, like you said, you must do good, because somebody was out there a couple of years ago, and somebody was training their hunting dogs nearby, and they were shooting their blanks off. So,
It makes you ride faster.
yeah, so it's accepted. How big is this event?
We don't know. We don't, I mean, the Tour de Cures is, the two new ones they're putting in. This is the first year they had it. They call it a gravel ride. And what it does is that it's you're going over JB Little Road,
Okay.
over Ash Street.
Which
Going
JB
down
Little, that's in Groveland.
That's
That's
in
in
Groveland.
Groveland. And going over
No,
Ash
that's in
Street.
Georgetown, Groveland, and West Newbury.
Well, they're
Right.
going through.
They're coming, it's like 20 miles. I mean, this isn't the only place. They're going up and down Newburyport through the woods there. They
Okay.
planned,
That's why this is different.
that's why this is different. So where it affects us is they go up Georgetown to Middle to Ash, up Brickett, over to Moulton, then through the woods, over the Indian Hill, on that.
Well, they go around the reservoir.
They don't go around the reservoir. They go up over the hill.
But no, there is a road. I've
side of
driven
the
my
reservoir,
bike
yeah.
there.
What?
Yeah.
No, they
On the side of
take
the-
a right off of
Yeah.
Moulton onto the,
But then they go
Yeah.
up over the hill.
right.
Yep.
And then down, then through the Atherton property.
Yeah, that the property,
The riders I saw numbers, the riders that are going on that course are fairly minimal, like
It's brand new, so.
Yeah.
They said 18, which sounds
which is
pretty
actually-
low,
that's
but
actually-
I'm not sure that it is 18.
that's
I bet
actually
it's more,
doable,
but,
too,
yeah.
'cause I've done that route on my bike, if you can imagine.
So
That Atherton where the
Mhm.
greenbelt land that we have. Up over there and come down on the reservoir. You go all the way around the reservoir and you come out where, what's your name's house is.
Yeah, and
So-
then they're gonna go down Pikes Bridge, up Turkey Hill, into Newburyport.
I mean, I was concerned about it until I understood that for liability reasons, but then understand that
Well, what about
we're
for
okay.
traffic reasons? It's only 18. They're no more of a nuisance than those people
And
that
there's
drive in
by
our
the
town on
by
Sundays.
the time they get here, Glenn, they're spread out too. They're not 18 people together.
I mean, if there were 200 people, say, crossing Indian Hill, coming down the hill, that would be a big deal, but this says 18, so.
Yeah, it can't be any worse than the people that drive on the weekends around here and they're Peloton. What are they called? There's like 50 of them. On those
Peloton.
Peloton, around town, so it can't be any worse than that.
There are two other races as well.
Yeah.
And two other
Yeah,
races.
yeah.
So you want
They
to,
have higher numbers.
For the other races.
Yeah.
do we ever charge them?
But again, by the time they get here, it's a nonprofit.
Oh, it's a non-profit. So all those other races we charge and we make them give money to like the garden club.
Right. They're for profit.
Okay.
So liability was a concern. The other concern is, if I'm presuming we're going to approve this, Mary, when we send this back to them, would you very stern, which I know you can do that, very sternly say to them, you need to give this to us 3 months in advance, not be looking at, for us to.
Next time, you mean?
Yeah, not be looking for us to approve it 1 week before their event.
What do those numbers mean on there? Are those checkpoints?
Miles, those are miles. Like,
Miles? So they will not have any checkpoints or any water stations or so forth and so on in West Newbury that they have to clean up after?
No,
No
not
stops
West
in
Newbury.
town.
Say it again?
No stops in town, not at all.
Okay. Make a motion to approve with the caveat that they're told that this is a process that needs to start 3 months in advance next time.
and that we're giving permission in accordance with MGL Chapter 21, Section 17C.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
You can sign this one. Chief?
You're gonna sign that permit as well? You're gonna sign that permit as well?
Sure.
So,
One thing I neglected, I left out Sergeant Durand. He was also a key opponent. He was the one that coordinated the effort with Pentucket Art School and the painting of the town seal in the lobby of the safety complex. That was like the first community initiative thing that we did. So my own fault, I neglected to list him off, and he was so kind to remind me.
Is there any way you can give a list of everybody to Mary, and maybe we can make up a letter? Just
Yes.
that we congratulate, that we can sign, then just send to
Yep,
them?
I will have that for her tomorrow.
okay,
For
So-
everybody?
great.
The newspaper's gonna take care of that for me too. That little foobar on my part.
So, okay, so circling back to number 2, the school resource officer at Pentucket. So I know we've had past conversation about this. And we had talked about 5 days here. We talked in the town meeting 2 days. So, and I know you've got Officer McGuire that may or may not have to go to the academy. You've got Officer Burrell about to go out on leave. So, you want to pick it up from there?
What my plan is, whatever the first day of school, there'll be a school resource officer in the school. My goal is to have that person there 5 days a week at all expense, but with the parameters that if there are emergencies or unfilled shifts that I have to fill, I also have to pay attention to that. But my ultimate goal is, I have pitched to you folks, the residents, and certainly the school board, is I want this position to be fully integrated in the school, which to me means 5 days a week. That's my ultimate goal. I know the school is paying roughly 30% and the town's paying the rest, and I want the program to work. The officers of the department want it to work. I think everybody wants it to work.
Do you need a fallback plan if Officer McGuire is out for 6 months, though?
Well, if Officer McGuire is out for 26 weeks at the police academy, the school's going to get at least 2 or 3 days a week. But if Plan A works and the moon and the sun all align together, there's going to be an officer there 5 days a week. And I see certainly at the beginning, whoever that officer is going to be immersed at the high school and the middle school. And when time avails itself, is going to be at the elementary school as well. But our focus, and it's always been our focus, is at the high school and the middle school. And my goal is to have someone there 5 days a week, but so everybody knows, there are obviously always things that come up, whether it's training or sick time or shortages somewhere else within the department. Obviously, I have to pay attention to that as well. It's going to be...
Yeah, but that's not gonna cut into the core program.
No,
You're gonna have some type of core program, and you're gonna hopefully expand it to 5 days a week if the moon's aligned.
If the moon's aligned, that person's going to be there 5 days a week, starting from day one. But I just want everyone else to realize that there are other things that affect that position, and obviously the core value of policing is obviously making sure that there's enough police officers on the street
You have
first.
to have enough bodies to fill all your shifts.
That's my number one priority, is obviously making sure that there's enough boots to the ground to protect the vast amount of people. And my second most important thing is obviously the school resource officer, and I wanted to give it 100% 5 days a week, every day of the school year, and that's my number one priority. But there are things that are going to affect that that I don't want it to affect. But I can assure the board that I'm going to pay attention to it 100% to make it work because I want it to work.
Plus, you're going to have to hire a person, so you're going to have somebody
I
else.
have to promote someone internally, whoever that may be, that wants to be the school
So
resource
you're going to have
officer.
someone else going to the academy.
And then I have to hire someone else to replace whoever that officer is, and that person hopefully will be a full-time certified officer. If not, then it will be at least a reserve officer that eventually I'll have to send him or her to the police academy at some point down the.
What's the leeway you have for that?
I have, if I hired someone today that was a reserve officer, not full-time, only reserve, I have 270 days to get that person to a full-time academy. That's the maximum time I can wait to put that person in.
Before they start or finish?
Start.
Start, okay.
That's the maximum. So if I hired someone today, I have 269 days to make sure that person's in a full-time academy.
So you need to hire somebody, first off, you need to hire somebody.
What my plan is first I'm going to tackle the school resource officer. I'm going to find out who that person or persons are that are interested in it. We're going to have a interview board that's going to encompass at least the superintendent or maybe one of the principals, maybe one or two students. There's been some people out in the community that have expressed some interest, and then there's going to be probably other police officers, probably not from around here, that are either ranking officers or are current or former school resource officers, and they're going to sit on a panel, and they're going to interview the candidates that I'm going to put forth to them, and they're going to pick the candidate that they feel is best suited for our needs here in West Newbury.
Who's going to have the input on creating the job description?
Myself and the superintendent, which it's already done.
Do we see that?
Yep.
I think we've had it before.
Yeah, and then, to add on to that question, who does this person report to?
Me.
Only you?
Only me. What?
Direction of this individual will be
it-
not coming from the superintendent or any school people, it will only be coming from you?
That officer, whoever that will be, reports directly to me or one of my designees, meaning one of the sergeants, probably starting off weekly and probably then monthly. The superintendent and I, or the superintendent, the principals and I will sit down and evaluate, okay, what's working and what may not be working and how can we improve this. So I'm going to value the input throughout the entire process, but the person that officer reports to, is me, and I'm solely responsible for that person, no different than any of the other officers working for me. But I want the school's input to what's working and what's not working, or say they might want a certain class at the high school co-taught with that school resource officer, or something at the middle school, or even something at the paid school. I want the principals and the superintendent's involvement of what their needs are and what needs can we satisfy for them as well as our own needs.
Has there been a place identified where this person can hang his or her hat, or is there any?
Yeah, the high school already has a predetermined place.
They do, okay.
Yeah, the middle school or the elementary school, I'm not sure yet, but I know we're going to be welcome, and they'll put that officer wherever it needs to be.
So it sounds like there's a number of things that are kind of up in the air. Officer require, if you hire a full-time certified person, so really you're not in a position to fully talk about what the time there. So
But I don't want to leave this meeting thinking that we're up in the air. I want to leave this meeting saying that we have dedicated resource
well,
officers.
we do. We're talking about the number of
I
days.
just don't want to have the wrong idea.
By-
of leaving this
I don't
meeting
think
and
he
get in
can-
the newspaper that it's still, you know what I mean?
Okay, I don't think he can say that the person's going to be there for 5 days or
I
2
understand
or
that.
3
That's
or
what I said,
whatever.
there's going to be a core resource, there's
Right.
gonna be a core resource officer.
I think we all understand that.
Jen has a,
Level of
Joe,
confidentiality
Jen has a
between
question.
the children and the resource officer, I just thought it was that, that they would feel they would be able to come to them, and that resource officer would not be going back to the superintendent and or principal and discussing the matter.
I would certainly hope there'd be a level of confidence that, I mean, that's the whole purpose, or one of the many purposes of obviously the school resource officer, that there's obviously some bonding and mentoring and obviously trust that's built between the students and obviously the officer.
The officer and then in turn the police.
Jen, you had a question?
Right.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify.
You need a microphone. I'm sorry. Mike's got it for you.
I understand the 5-day goal. When I sat the school committee discussion, they talked about a 2-day, funding 2 days. So are you saying that you're definitely going to have 2 days or 2 full-time, however you break it up, but the equivalent of 2 full days? Because that's what the towns supported across the board.
Yes,
Minimum,
minimum.
Minimum of 2 days.
and he hopes it will grow from there.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else
Nope.
on that?
Thank you.
Okay. Next thing is the, and this is kind of a dual thing with you and Mary, the emergency alert system for town offices. I don't know which one of you wants to speak to it. Mary wrote a letter.
Now, what prompted this? Aaron?
Well,
You need to get close to the, is there a real need for this?
okay,
Well,
thank you, Mary. About a month ago, Mary had asked me what my thoughts were on having some type of panic alarm or some type of system here at the town offices. And I said, because that's the system that she was used to from where she came from, no different from where I came from. I said, no, we don't have any type of panic alarm system within the confines of this building or the library or probably most places in town. And obviously, I have the same concern that she has, that there are a lot of, obviously, town employees in this building. This is the hub, obviously, of government, and there are times that obviously people come in that may not be happy with government. And there have been, obviously, issues nationwide where people that come in to either have issues with the town clerk or town assessor, or usually anything that deals with money, and they become obviously very irate. So Mary was talking about having some type of panic alarm, and I had said, well, place that I've worked before, they would have cameras that would obviously could be viewed at our dispatch center, not voice, but at least picture, that would capture the customer coming in. So if there was an issue, obviously dispatchers could see it and obviously relay that information to us. And then I said, well, what we're doing right now for the school is a program called CopSync. The school has had it for a number of years. That was instituted, I think, probably 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And what CopSync is, throughout the school system, here in West Newbury, Merrimack, and Groveland, the teachers have an app on their phone if they choose, or they have an icon on their computer in the classroom that if there is an emergency, they can tap into that and send a direct message, obviously, to our dispatch center that there is a hostage situation or there's a fight or whatever the emergency is, and it goes directly to the dispatch center, and then the dispatch center obviously relays that information to the police officer. So I had told Mary of the program that the school has, and she goes, oh, that sounds kind of interesting, tell me more. Well, in that time frame, I was talking with the CopSync rep as well as the school, because we were trying to finalize and critique the program that the school has had, and I kind of unofficially brokered a whopping deal for the town to try before you buy, and then after, if the town chooses to buy it, it was discounted to a certain degree. The CopSync representatives, the guy that sells the product, and the financial individual came in, made a presentation to Mary and the library director to see if it's something that they want. It cost me as the police chief / director of communications nothing. It only costs, obviously, the time for the dispatcher to page it out to the officers. So
Do you have the hardware to, suppose it was instituted, would it you have to change any hardware at
Nothing.
dispatch or anything like that?
nothing. We're already doing it.
What's wrong with calling 911?
That was my first thing that I.
You have to get your phone to get an app. What?
Absolutely, Glenn. The difference between 911, if the teacher decided to just call 911, 911 goes from the school, well, it goes all the way down to wherever the 911 office is, which is, I believe, in Middleton. Middleton has to call back to West Newbury, then West Newbury has to tell us. What CopSync does, it gives it more real time. It goes directly from the school's computer or the person that decides to have an app right to, obviously, the dispatcher.
From what I read in that letter, it also, if something happens in the assessor's office, it alerts everyone in the building also.
Yes, it can. Let's say there was an irate customer in the assessors, and she can't get to the app because the person is becoming belligerent. Mary happens to come by, and she goes into the break room and hears all this going on. If she has her cell phone, she can go right on her cell phone and put it directly in and actually type what the problem is. So it's almost free floating here within the building. And same thing with the library if the library chooses it. Here, there's more more smaller areas that I guess poses problem.
Do we have, this brings in my head just multitudes of things in, like we're putting the cart before the horse. Do we even have proper training for all our employees in the building? If one, now we're hypothetically saying that somebody's gonna come in and be irate, we need a new app in case that happens. I would say that we need to make sure then, if we're nervous about that, we have to make sure that all our employees are now trained, because we're saying that we live in a new world, that we need something like this, that we need to train our employees, like the shelter-in-place type of things and all that kind of stuff that the schools have, that we need to start doing that.
I know that Maya's come in the past and they've had, I don't know if it was just with one or two individuals or if it was a broad amount of people and had that kind of, I don't know if it was training. I know Chris Pyle had mentioned it to me.
Because if we have to do that, I mean, we need a lot more than if we have nervous employees.
I'm glad you brought that up. And the caveat to the cop sync is, A, the school resource officer and another officer are going to go to special training because the school needs that same shelter in place or that type of training down there as well. They need more than the cop sync, and the school resource officer is going to help, obviously, take care of that. And so the school resource officer and the other officer that I'm sending to the school is going to teach the shelter in place or whatever that's going to happen that day here to all town employees. It could be done, obviously, next door and as well as at the library or any place else that houses a collection of town employees. You're absolutely right. The cop sync is kind of the next level as well because there's something before that kind of all has to come together. But you're absolutely right, and I'm glad you brought that up, Glenn, because that's part of the school resource officer and that other officer are going to be co-teaching it to school and here if that's what the employees want.
Do you really think there is a need for this?
Well, I've worked in another town offices and we did have a panic button. And so it was used, not a lot, but when someone got loud and aggressive, you were able to hit the button and, an officer's not running through the door with his gun. I mean, he's just kind of coming in, kind of assessing the situation. Most of the time, just having him or that person present in the building cooled everything. So I did bring it up to some of the employees. We have some employees that are here first thing in the morning all by themselves, 7 a.m. We have some that are here later at night. And
But we still have 911 though. I mean, we're not.
But when you have someone who's aggressive, who's angry, who's standing in front of you, to pick up the phone and dial 911 and then tell the person on the other line what is going on.
But don't you have to do that with the app, but just touch it?
It's just at one click and that's it.
I just don't want.
That's the difference, because then
I
they
look at
get
the other end too of
aggravated.
the taxpayers. I'm like, what are they going to think? I mean, I don't know.
What do you mean, what are the taxpayers are going to
I
think?
don't know. Like, do we really live in that kind of environment?
Well,
What are we saying about them? I mean, we've never had a situation like this, have we? Not that I've, have we? Since I've been a
I did
selectman?
speak with the assessor and finance department, and they both said that they would definitely think that this would be a good thing. They've had people come in and get upset, and they've felt uncomfortable, and so.
So if we're going to use this, if we're going to do this, I want to have some guidelines when it needs to be used. We just can't be. I don't want this thing, because then it's a stigma against it too. That all of a sudden I don't feel comfortable because this person's talking loud about his taxes or her taxes, and then that panic button, and then now that person's in the newspaper because something's happened, that a panic button had to be pushed at town hall and the police had to come in. You know what I mean by that? So I would actually if we had if we're gonna implement something like this, there would have to be some procedures in place, and people would need to be trained of when to use it and when not to use it.
And I agree with you, Glenn, because I don't want it to become like a crying wolf or a continuous false 911s. And Mary and I have talked about that. I think the best course of action maybe for tonight is the company has agreed to give us so many months of a free trial. So we have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
I say no. I say we talk about it, get procedures in place and put all that, get all the procedural things in place, and then you implement the program, not put the program in and then have the thing. And maybe have a have a town meeting, not like we have, but I mean an employee meeting, and bring it in and say, these are the procedures that this is gonna be, this is the app, and.
Well, yes, I mean, long before, the program is not going to be thrown out and nobody is going to know how to use it. But what I'm saying, the procedures are all going to be done prior to ever it being implemented on a free trial run basis. The company has agreed to give us a free trial run until September, whatever it is.
September 1.
All the training is going to be done long before that and about what is warranted to call and what is not.
I would like to see those, improve those before we implement a thing like that.
Well, again, that's going to all fall on Mary. Mary's the one that's pitching this. I will certainly help her. I agree with it because obviously it's going to impinge on obviously the dispatch center.
Jen, did you still have a question?
Yeah. Like, okay, free trial, but then what is it gonna cost after that?
That's
then is it gonna be more software and this and that, and does it have to be upgraded?
Just help a Luddite here. I don't think it applies to the 1910 building, or maybe not the library, but I know at the school they have dead zones, a lot of dead zones. How does that impact this system you're talking about?
It's funny that you say, I was thinking of the same thing in my head as you're saying that. I'm trying to think in this building where my cell phone works and doesn't. I'm going, town meeting just voted down the cell phone. That was going through my head as you were talking.
Do they have Wi-Fi?
At the high school?
Yeah.
They do.
I think it works on Wi-Fi.
So then that's not a problem.
Well, that's what a cell phone.
But it still has dead zones in the high school with the Wi-Fi.
It definitely has dead zones. I'm not technology savvy, so.
And I have no idea, but I know a cell phone goes to Wi-Fi when you're.
Chief, is that your anticipation that it will work at the school regardless of dead zones?
I'm not familiar with the school's Wi-Fi.
No, I'm asking the chief.
Oh.
I'm not totally familiar. That's above my pay grade about the technology aspect. There is cell phone issues at the school as well as radio issues, which is why we need a new antenna or something, a cell tower or something down in that area. But I know it does connect up to Wi-Fi. Any phone connects to Wi-Fi.
So then it's not a problem. I mean, you don't want to tell people that, give them the impression that they're safe if they're not.
I guess the only way to remedy that, as Glenn brought up, is the Wi-Fi would have to be tested in this building and or the library if they both chose to do it.
The library feels they need to do it?
The library decided that they were not going to move forward with it at this time.
Because they got a bunch of other things going on that they're trying to fix right now. But the library director was at the same meeting that Mary was at.
Yeah.
So am I interpreting this right? It's $600 now through March 31st, 2018? Or
Yes.
Or $3,000?
It is $600 for the, so the first 6 months, they're giving it to us for free, or?
3 months.
From now until September for nothing. From September to I think April, it's $600, and then it falls into sequence with their billing, which is a whole year after the fact.
At $3,000.
And that is $1,000 per year.
No, it's 1,000.
Okay, so
For as many devices.
Decide right away,
Do
and
you-
that free thing, like a used car thing.
I mean, if we, I guess if we, I guess I didn't hammer them that hard. They said 3 months, September, whatever it was. So if Mary gets back to them and say, hey, the board still has some more questions, we want to kick it around the corner a couple more times. It's not a no, but it's not a yes. We may be interested. Maybe it can go now until October 1st if we take another month and kick it around and
I wouldn't
see
mind
what.
getting policies in place, but I don't want the employees either saying, oh, the selectmen don't care if we're safe or not. That's not the case. I want to make sure things are in place so it's done properly, so it's not a detriment. and it's more positive. You know what I mean by that?
Glenn, I certainly agree, because I don't want it done willy-nilly.
I think you don't want excess calls
No, I
that
don't.
are
Mary and I,
unnecessary either.
Mary and I have already
It's
talked
not
about
what we're
that,
looking for. No, not at
so,
all.
maybe
Would
she,
you ever feel, would you feel, this is, sometimes when new things come upon me that are this thing, I mean, I it just, I don't know.
I would agree with the comment on the policies that we need, because I know this, I harken back to that Maya training, and maybe they have something that they could help with training, that we need to have training that would go along with this. But I am a little concerned that this is not, anybody can walk in off the street and walk into any office. There's zero security. So that's a concern also. I mean, it's a balance. So, I mean, $600 till next March, I mean, I wouldn't mind trying it. And yes, we need to get the policies regardless.
Trying it means nothing, because trying it means nothing because
I agree that there should be
we probably won't, I hope it never gets used, right? So that's what I mean. So I look at it, what's happened? Nothing's happened in West Newbury that we need to do this. But I guess the climate of the world has changed, that people will feel safer working here if they have this. I guess that's right. Is that the reasoning?
I would agree with you, Glenn, and I think the easiest caveat to that is if Mary contacts the town of Merrimack, I know they use it in other facilities within the town beyond the school. I'm knowing Chief Shears as well as I do, I'm sure it's the same type of protocols. If she reaches out to, whether it's the elderly housing or whatever they use it in Merrimack, I'm sure there's policy and procedures.
You see, my concern is that when you call 911, that means something, okay? So if somebody's talking loud that their tax bill is $15,000 or their water bill is too much, somebody might not call 911 just because the person's talking loud, okay? But they might hit that button, but it means the same. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I mean about, we need to have policies in place with our employees of when we use it and when we don't. And I don't think maybe I feel very, not uncomfortable, but I'm a big male, I don't get nervous, so I feel like I don't get intimidated by people, I guess. So it's not fair for me to make these assumptions either for our employees when they might not feel comfortable about an individual. You know what I mean? But I'm kind of betwixt. I'm saying, well, why do we need this? But I'm who I am.
You're not
That's
the
very
target.
true. That's
You're not the
very
target.
true.
That's a very good, I'd like to
That
ask,
is a
So I
great
don't-
point, yes.
I don't feel the same
And
way.
everyone I spoke to here, mainly it was women, all felt that they would like to have some sort of, method so that, because to pick up the phone and dial 911, you've got someone who's angry, who's, you're feeling threatened.
This is
And I'm
almost,
not a good
It's a
telephone person.
difficult,
I think it would be harder, I think it would be harder for me to get an app on here than to call
no,
911.
but Glenn,
That's
it's on
different.
your
Glenn, then you
computer.
have to,
It's on your
explain,
computer.
I'm upstairs by the bathroom and everything and all that kind of
and
stuff.
this is almost a kind of a between 911, which is, I view as.
It's like a middle ground.
Yes.
I'm not saying no, but I'm saying I would feel more comfortable if we had procedures in place so people know how to use it correctly before we give them.
They're gonna do training, they're gonna come in and
but
train.
Beforehand.
Our procedures, that we tell our people, that, hey, this is something that we feel that you might need, but this is when you use it, not,
What, only if you're feeling threatened?
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I guess what
Let's
would be a
work it out.
policy on it?
Yeah, so they understand, like, when you feel threatened, not uncomfortable, we have a talk about it, like, you maybe do something, like, when somebody comes in and talks loudly, and they're disgusted about their taxes, it's not a good time to do this, but if the person threatens you and says things like this, of course that's the time. There is some leeway, too, where
Right.
people, it's almost become, we just, I don't.
I understand what you're saying.
I-
Just because
I-
somebody,
don't want to.
just because somebody talks loud, that's not a,
Yeah, I would just feel.
that's why they need training. So, I mean, personally, it's $600, so I'm not opposed to doing it with training and not deploying it until people are trained on it. That's where I would go. I don't know.
I mean, a lot of places have security in all sorts of different
We have zero security. That's the other
in all sorts of manners. We're a public facility, we have to be open to the public, completely accessible. But compared to TJ Maxx, we don't have security. You know what I mean? We have zero.
I got it, but do we need it?
What's that?
But do we need it?
I'm not here, so I don't know.
We don't need it. We don't need it. We've never needed, there isn't an instance that we need it, but I get what's going on in this world, and this world's not, it's a lot different. And at the end, I want the people to feel comfortable. If they feel,
What do you think?
if they feel, I just want them to be.
See,
I want them to
I
be able to
think,
use it.
yeah, we have to, it has to be, this isn't just like, someone's annoying me, let's get him out of here, that kind of thing, by pushing the button.
Well, they need training.
Yeah,
Any way we can get some policies in place before our next meeting, some procedures that how these people are going to use it, and then we can approve those and then tell the person, hey, let's start. You know what I mean?
Well, that I think comes with the training, doesn't
How-
it, from CopSync? I mean, this is what they do.
How about I throw this out to facilitate this so we can go on with some of the other business. Between now and whatever your next meeting is, I will help Mary facilitate trying to get some of those policies from other towns that already use this in this same type of situation. We'll try to work it so it fits West Newbury, and then Mary can obviously present it to the board.
No, why wouldn't the library?
You notice I said Mary.
Yeah, I
Okay.
get you. Why wouldn't the library want?
They're, I don't want to misstate it, but I know they're going through some new type of computer program. So there's a lot going on at the library. Not that they don't want it, because Sue does. It's just bad time with all the other stuff that
And I
they have.
think Mary made a good point. I think you have to understand that this is computer-based and phone-based.
So if there's no
And
power
we-
base, there's nothing.
No. Good point that if she's sitting at her computer,
Yeah.
she doesn't have to fumble around like I would have to fumble around to
Right.
find my goofy
That's
app
correct.
that I never can find, and I think I have. She could have, just go like, sitting there, the person could be talking, just go like this.
It's an
and it's
icon.
done. Or whatever,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's
And-
done, rather than going, picking up the phone, and call, what are you doing? And, 911, whatever. I got it, I got it, I'll stop.
Okay, so we're agreed, she's gonna come back and talk about it next time, right? Okay,
And
good.
we're far, but we just wanna work out the details.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Art. Appreciate you
thank
staying
you,
so
Art.
late.
Thank you, Ron.
Do you have a few more minutes? No, just kidding.
Do you need me to say?
No, I'm kidding.
No.
Oh. Uh-huh.
Between you and me, talking.
So the next thing is employee health insurance. Maya has proposed a 9% cost increase for fiscal year 18, which starts July 1st.
This is important, Jen, actually.
Okay, go ahead.
Everything we say is important. Anyway, controlling health costs is a big national issue. Maya has given us a 9% cost increase for fiscal 18. They've had similar cost increases in the past. That is not sustainable by our employees or by us. And I just want to say that this is a shared expense between the employees and the town. And moving forward, we need to look at different ways to control that cost escalation, but more in the near term. And we'll vote this, but we don't want our employees to shoulder that level of increase. So we are going to propose an increase in the town contribution from 60 to 65% for fiscal 18, so starting July 1st. So that means instead of a 9% increase in insurance, the town employees will actually see a 4.4% decrease in their healthcare insurance. And we'll have to deal with future years as they come. So with that, I move to approve increasing the town healthcare contribution from 60 to 65%.
Second.
Effective with fiscal 18. Discussion?
The discussion would be that we even though giving somebody a raise with the increase in health costs, we want to make sure that we have a good working environment, and we understand that we have good employees and we want to retain those employees. and we want, when we give them a raise, like we did this year, we have, I think, every year that I've been a selectman other than one, that it's a real raise rather than them have to then, a person that has an average of around, if they were making around $50,000 with that health insurance increase, they would be actually making less weekly than they would be this year than they were last year. So we thought it was important because the quality of work and our employees, and we want to retain people, and we understand, a happy workforce is a good one, that we have the ability to do it as a town, and we wanted to show that our employees, that, we want to do that.
And where does that money come from?
It's already,
It's in the-
it's in the insurance line item. It's already been,
It's
it's already there.
Because when you're making out the budget, you have to, like everything, you've sat in these meetings, we just never know how much that increase is going to be from
So
that.
you had enough to do.
So we had
Yes.
enough, we don't have, there is enough in there, you never know what that increase is gonna be, so you have to budget a little bit more,
You
a
have a
little bit
cushion.
less.
Yep.
So the money's there.
Okay, thanks.
We wouldn't do it otherwise. You're looking at three people that don't want to raise taxes.
Yes.
So,
Huh.
did we vote that?
No.
We did not.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next item is policy discussion regarding signs on town property. So, town meeting just approved a new sign bylaw, and part of that says, talks about private signs not being affixed to public property, which includes utility poles, fences, trees, traffic signs, light posts, flag posts, and property also, without the approval of the Board of Selectmen or other entity having jurisdiction for that property. So I know there's been some discussion about signs recently, but I think it also kind of leaves a little hole in, because that says no signs, period. So I think the
There's no
town
sign period without our,
approval.
which is what happens now.
Right. Well, it says that Mike can't put up his little white sign on the driveway, technically, right?
Without our approval.
Right. Which I don't think is, I mean, I think he should be able to do that without our approval, that little white sign. You can give it to him. That's what I was just about to do, but yes. But, I mean, the board needs to. So, there's two things. The town office building and the public safety building both have that kind of sign. So I personally would see no problem with either the police chief or the town clerk putting up that kind of sign. But I'd also say that if people do put up signs in violation of the bylaw, that any employee should be able to take that sign down too.
We can do that anyway. We can do that right now.
We can do that anyway.
Yeah, the
Okay.
selectmen have the authority to do, that came up before. And
Okay,
we
I was
got
not
a
aware of
legal-
that.
On a different board with you two, with me on it, with you two not, that came up before, and Mike came back with the determination that the selectmen have the authority to take it down themselves, or designate somebody to take it down. We could have an ongoing thing with the DPW, saying that we can take down, they should be taken down.
Well, could we go as far as to say any town employee could take down a sign that has not been approved?
Yeah, but they wouldn't know. We would have to tell them. Now, is there any exemptions with real estate signs, political signs, or anything like that? No.
Yeah, that was a question I had, like particularly.
But
you treat everybody the same. I mean,
because you
basically.
could put a sign, you could put a real estate sign on a private property because it's.
Yes.
You got the permission of that
Yes.
person who owns it.
You're just talking about the power of the board to,
On town-owned
Public,
to take signs off town-owned land.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, what
because
about?
no one has a right to put a sign on town-owned land.
What about, and I don't really personally have a problem with these, but realtors put signs up all the time on telephone poles, at street intersections, like if there's a three-way or four-way street.
They're not supposed to.
They do.
And I'll tell you one that's gonna come up, is our lovely, around the holiday,
Yes.
Christmas tree signs. Because
Yeah.
I actually have got a phone call this year for the first time.
What Christmas tree sign?
At
Oh,
the,
they all
at the,
go up.
at the,
All
at,
of them, all over the place, they come up.
they're usually at
Oh, those Christmas tree
intersections, yeah.
signs. Yes, okay. Yeah, they
And-
put them all over, yeah.
And they technically should get permission for those too.
Well,
Now, can they get permission for a telephone sign, even though has no jurisdiction of the Board of Selectmen?
The question is it in a public way?
Or if it's not in a
It
public
would be
way,
in the public right
Or
away.
if it's not in a public way, who is responsible for that?
It would be
So
the
it-
Verizon, I
Yeah,
guess.
so it wouldn't be us.
No, I mean, because, no, the public way is, the Verizon just owns the pole.
We
Town
own-
owns the
we
public
own
way.
right away,
Right,
the 8-foot, whatever it is.
yeah,
the-
the
it's the-
town is in the public right of way.
it's the right of way, right? Because they're not gonna put a sign on a pole that's 20 feet off the street.
No, most of,
Well, that's
all the
good-
poles,
that's a good point.
as
Almost
a
all.
blanket statement, all the poles are in the right of way.
Most polls or all practically.
Well,
yeah.
there are probably like 2 or 3 that
Yeah.
are,
Well, then going back to this, I think all these things should be consistent.
Yep.
So I'm gonna use an example of what's going on now with the garden club. That we had an ongoing policy that was voted by the Board of Selectmen that we don't have any signs that is on the training floor
Without approval.
without approval of the Board of Selectmen. Well, I don't even think that said it, but that's a given. The motion didn't say that, but it's a given. You know what I mean? That it was approved. So, I would ask that if we're gonna do something for one person, we do it for all.
Well, and the sign bylaw also, it restricts, I think, if I interpret it right, even signs that we approve, it restricts the size of the signs to
32 square feet.
yeah, which is 4 by 8, basically. That's pretty small. It's a
Well,
piece
6
of
by
plywood.
6, actually pretty big.
32 square inches?
Feet.
6 feet.
Oh,
No, 6 by 8, no,
6 by 6.
4 by
6
8.
by 6 is a pretty big thing, so you just think, all you have to do.
that's a
this
lot
is-
bigger than a real
It's a
estate
piece
sign.
of plywood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, this is 6 feet. So you just two of these. This is a 6-foot table. That's an 8-foot table. He has a 6-foot table. So it would be 6 feet, and then you just double them up. That's a huge sign. This is 2
Okay.
and a half. This is actually 2 and a half. This is 2 and a half by 6. A regular table is 2 and a half by 6.
So there's 2 issues. One, I would like to give the town clerk and the police chief the authority to put up the informational signs without having to come. Yeah. And, okay, so what about the other signs that are littered all over the place?
We have to take it down. I take them
Well,
down
and
by walk.
what was it, those that are on public property, I mean, they don't have a right to do it without the permission. So you have the right to take them down. If they're on private property, then obviously you can't take them down.
Yeah, it's between
And,
them.
but if they're in violation of the sign bylaw, obviously,
You have to call the building inspector and he would take care of it.
you could, yeah,
When did that sign bylaw go into effect?
It has not.
it has not yet.
How long will it take to be reviewed?
6 months.
It shouldn't be long.
By fall?
Yeah. So, although technically, the zoning laws are a little different in that they're supposed to be in effect at the town meeting vote. That's what the statute says.
Oh.
But they're not approved yet, so.
They're affected by town meeting vote, and then they have to be approved by the Attorney General to make sure that you're not overstepping our bounds and within law, constitutional law.
Right.
So
But this- but the-
theoretically, it is in effect.
Theoretically, it said the 48, Section 5 says that the zoning bylaw is in effect. I mean, technically, the building inspector should start, enforcing it as of that date.
So somebody puts a landscape business sign on the town square. Who can take that down?
Anyway,
You
The
can,
town
you
square,
can,
what
you
are you
can.
talking about?
I've taken
The
them.
right of way?
I've
The right of
taken a
way?
few down.
On the little island there, anywhere.
Yeah. you
On the
take it in.
Georgetown Road and Maple Street and Air Street. That little,
Well,
What's the criteria you're gonna use? Obviously, the garden sale is something that's
that
selected.
who'll use.
I'm not done with talking about that.
I didn't hear the
That still has to
question.
be talked about.
Can I hear the question?
I'm just curious, what's the criteria selectmen will use? Obviously, a private landscaper, no. But you approved, I believe you approved the garden sale sign on the training.
They would have, first of all, they'd have to come in and request it.
And did they?
The garden club?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
they did.
You were here.
So you approved that.
Yeah.
So going forward, how will people know what's gonna be approved by selectmen and what's not? or is it just hit or miss? Do you have a criteria that you're gonna use?
I don't think we've gotten to that.
Because that was the question with me with the garden club. I love the garden club. They're having their 30-year anniversary this year of the plant sale. My wife's part of the garden club and so forth and so on. But I just wanted it to be fair for everybody, because we've said no to the Pawtucket Education Foundation, to the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, Jeannie Geiger Crisis Center. We've said no to all the sports people. And we have a letter here from a woman asking, why is there a sign there, when we were told, no, the Board of Selectmen no longer have signs on
What's the answer?
the training field? You have
My,
to speak to it.
my answer was that a couple of, historically, the event has taken place there. No other events actually take place. How that was given permission to use the training field for the event is a whole nother story. But to me, it does make some sense that you have the sign where the event is. And there was precedence that it had happened in the past. I didn't really want to do it, but I see the rationale that the individuals actually, that organization actually takes some care of the grounds of that particular spot, and the event is there, so that's why I made the exception.
Which was the other argument is, and which is not diminishing what the garden club does for the town, but if that's the litmus test of what you do for the town and how much money you spend, then
Well, I think
there's a lot of other groups that should be able to have their sign there also.
I think he also said, in addition to that, that was only one aspect, that they have the event on the training field, one, and two, I don't think he used this terminology, but it's somewhat grandfathered in that it has occurred in the past. Some years yes, some years no.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider that grandfather because we voted no. But the other aspect of it is that it is right, and I think Archie brings up a good point. How did they get that on the training field? We have a policy in town, an events policy in town that was not even filled out, and we've actually told people no, they couldn't have things when they've come and so I guess the selectmen need to do a better job of deciding what quote unquote an event is in this town and what's not an event. But I would think having a plant field that's going to have hundreds and hundreds of people at a very, very dangerous corner of 128, that there's been multiple accidents, that somebody's taken out a telephone pole there.
It's a historic district.
In a historic district, how did that happen? I mean,
But to Dave's point, that happened a long time ago.
That's grandfather.
yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
So, okay, so
I think what he said, you weren't here.
I understand, but I want to know, so if something's been going on for a long time, they don't need to fill out that form anymore?
No.
The answer is no.
So you're concerned because this year the form wasn't filled out.
The form's never been filled out, and that was, I guess, our fault.
Did they do a use of facility form, or they just asked her? I don't know.
They have filled out many requests for use of facilities.
The garden club?
The garden club, yes.
Well, no.
So I don't know if that's
filled out
part.
many because they use, like, the annex, and they use,
They kind of do a whole year one. So I'd have to look. I don't know if it's part of it or not.
so we've spent a lot of time in our use of facilities fund in that events thing, because it was something that was concerning us. And I just want to make sure that we go back and,
So it's fair to everybody.
so it's fair to everybody. That's all I'm looking for. I love the garden club, and I love the amount of work they do. I think it just should be fair to all the taxpayers. That's what it's all about, just fairness.
Okay. Can we go back to the signs now?
Does that answer your question that you asked,
Yes.
Joe?
Thank you.
Can we go back to the sign? I think, and if you guys have more than this, I think the two questions were the ability to put up informational signs here, and then the little, and I'll just use landscaping as an example, landscapers that put signs wherever they want on town property. So you're saying, take them down.
But that hasn't changed. This new law hasn't changed that. We have the ability to do that anytime. That's
I think it just clarifies it all the more, that's all.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
I agree, we could have before, yeah.
I was not aware of that, so, okay.
Gary was actually been told to do that, but then he says there's a gray area. He's not sure which one is permitted, which one's not, and all that. So, how are we gonna handle that?
Well,
You know what I
landscaping
mean?
signs are not permitted.
Say that again?
Landscaping signs would probably never be permitted.
On public land.
Yeah. Realtor signs too, probably.
Say that again?
Realtor signs also probably.
So, okay, so now, we have to have this discussion, because, or not. So, there's a real estate sign in the square, excuse me, there's a,
They're all over the place. They're on
I
telephone
agree,
poles.
I agree.
Right.
There's a landscaping sign in the square. We asked the town, we've asked, Gary or whomever, to remove those. So when the Christmas tree signs come up without being approved, he takes those down too? Or do we need to?
I think,
talk about it?
I think we need to do a better job and talk to the Christmas tree farmers in advance.
Inform them ahead of time, yeah,
That would be good. That we can.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the sign bylaw, I mean, whatever. Okay.
No, it's important, Joe, because
Yep.
people are starting to question it too, because I think, quite honestly, Joe, it's gotten more and more.
I think, yeah, I mean,
So there's something, now we have to do something. I agree with you. It's gotten more that we need to have something and be more informational as what can and what can't be done.
Well, I was at but on the other side of the extreme, I was at the ice cream store on Saturday, and they said they couldn't put a sign up with the price of their products because they had too many signs up. That's what they said. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, he was there. Remember, he was at our meeting.
Yeah.
Fighting for
Well,
whatever.
he was talking about those big
I
signs.
know, but.
I'm just talking about a sign that's.
no,
on
I
the
think he was
building.
talking about the signs on the
On the building?
Rocky Road signs too, yeah.
I know that in another town that I've worked in, the road crew or highway department would take down the signs, bring them to the town hall, would notify the owners of the signs that they can come pick them up. And that it's not allowed, and so would address it piece by piece as it
Sign,
came along.
those foam signs are so cheap now that people don't even bother to take them down after.
They go everywhere.
Right.
Yeah,
And it's like cold calling. If you put up 100 and you get one person calling you, you're happy.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I move to approve small informational signs at the town office and public safety building with the approval of, just thinking forward, the town manager, town clerk, or chief of police.
Second.
All in favor?
What? You say small.
Well, hit the white informational sign.
I'm not trying to be a jerk, but.
Define small.
Yeah,
How big is it?
because the.
How
police
big is that
department-
sign?
No, but the police department puts out that big one. So are you gonna say not to that one? Remember, that big one is you know that big one they put up?
No.
Oh, it's huge. It's bigger than, it's around as big as your table, and it's got the same kind of, letters that our sign has on it, right? It has a steel, it takes probably 2 people to lift it. It goes in front there like for the car show.
The one they have it for the car show, yeah.
They
They
put
should,
that up.
they should, that's not small.
Okay, I just wanna make sure so they know that.
So if
How big is that sign?
I think it's about 10 square feet,
No, yours.
10 square feet.
Oh, 10 square feet. I'll amend that, of approximately 10 square feet. Jen?
So earlier you said town clerk, and this time you said town manager, which is it?
Both.
Both.
I said thinking forward, town
Is that
manager
what you said? I missed that. Okay,
and
thanks.
town clerk and chief of police.
And chief of police, got it.
The only other thing too is, you know who puts out an informational sign every now and then too, is the library. They have the same,
We don't
10
control,
foot sign.
we don't control the library.
We don't control their land, so they can put it
oh,
out.
that's right, that's true.
So I've also had people that have used the annex that have put signs out there. How would it
Are they
affect that?
commercial signs?
The
Like
Mother's
blood
Club.
pressure and-
The
They
Mother's
gotta-
Club
they gotta
just had
ask
the
us about
consignment
that.
sale.
The chess club that plays here on Sundays, they put a sign out.
They,
there.
right, so how does
They
it?
should add.
They gotta ask
They
us.
fill out their use of, we should maybe add that to the use of facility form,
Okay.
No, in big bold letters, no signs unless.
without prior approval.
Without
Yeah.
prior approval. You know, make it prevalent.
Okay, we good with that?
Yeah,
All in favor?
Aye.
all right.
Town clerk request for transfer, appropriation transfer.
Move.
You want to know what it is? Move to approve $750 to be transferred from Board of Registers expenses to operation of fax photo machines. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Appointments, review, new application, and procedure. Mary?
We just go back to transfers for a minute. Finance Committee, Eliza put out, the form on her page, Finance Committee does. And then she also asked that.
So a transfer is approved by both the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee.
Right, so do they come here first to the board, then to the Finance Committee?
I don't think it matters.
It doesn't say.
It
Either
doesn't
one,
matter.
either way
Okay,
it works.
so it doesn't matter. So she said, for year-end transfers, she's asking, that they could get them by June 12th.
Okay, so
I
send-
don't know.
That's for
so
their,
send out-
that's for their convenience.
That's for them to do?
That's for their convenience, so they don't have to come back.
So,
Okay.
so send out something to all the department heads and
Or
ask.
she can,
Well,
I
she
mean,
can
why
do
don't,
that, and then,
Yeah.
I mean, it's their convenience.
and so it can go to them first and then to us.
Yep.
Okay, thank
But
you.
make sure you tell her that she needs to send it out to everybody.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I don't know if that's gonna work, because you might have some transfers that need to be done
After the fact.
After
right,
the fact.
yeah.
Right. Or in early July, right? Don't
Well,
they?
what we could convey to her is that tell people to say, if you know they're gonna.
Within
come up.
reason, yeah.
Yeah, do it, but if something's coming up, you can't help it. Maybe she just wants to get the ones that are sitting around and just start moving them, if there's never that many anyway. You get to do them, what, a month afterwards?
Yep.
But it's never been more than 5, yeah.
No.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're on appointments. Yep.
Well, as the board has asked, I have prepared an application for an appointment. This is a fill-in form that we can put on the website, so that anyone that wants to be appointed can complete it, save it, and then email it to the town.
To you.
Yes, yeah.
Excellent idea. That way you get all the information you need captured, as opposed to having to chase people.
Right, actually, it's going to the selectmen's email address. It
Well-
has that at the top. And so I was kind of playing around a little bit with our recent, appointment to the Historic Commission. Commission or committee?
Commission.
So prepared a letter, and I give you a copy of that letter, kind of explaining when the board appointed him, when his expiration, and that it's an annual appointment. Thanking him for, willingness to serve, and the information on the conflict of interest.
The only thing I would add to that, he needs to do that and submit it to the town clerk.
So that was just in the letter, okay?
It
And
it says
then
that.
The
It does?
next
Where?
one is the email.
Where?
Submit to the clerk.
And in the
To the town
email
clerk.
is where I put,
Right,
but I don't think I did put
on-
the
on-
town
on
clerk.
I see it. I'm sorry, what did you say, Mary?
So then in the email I attached the letter and then talked about the conflict of interest, and the summary of it to explain what it is. Then the next link was the requirement, why they have to do it. The link to actually complete it online. And then also information on the public records requirement. As a commission member,
So
they
you-
need to be aware of that as well.
So you've tried to make it easy so they can just click and go to all the state required.
That's exactly what it is. It's all links to the state website. I didn't put on the town clerk gets it, but I can definitely add, make sure that's in there. Then they gotta come in and get sworn in by the town clerk. So, kind of put that in place, was looking for any input that you might have computer, email, isn't an email person, will have to prepare something to go in the mail, or,
The only email person that we don't have is Dot Kavanaugh, right? I think everybody else is on email. Bert Knowles. And I think he might have email now. He has email? He might find out. No, I haven't seen him around.
but they might not even be comfortable
Yeah,
with
you're
doing these links and things like that.
You're talking about a half of 1%.
Oh, yeah, it's that.
And if they don't have a computer and wanna come into the office, I wanted to offer up, they could come in and use my laptop to go online.
Well, they
for the
have to
training.
do,
The
right.
They
They
have
have
to
to
do
open.
it,
They have
yeah.
to do the conflict of interest. There's no choice. It's a law.
Right, but so,
And it's available to library.
They
too.
could go to the
Actually, all the
library, yeah.
they could go to the library, okay.
So I think they're both make a lot of sense.
Good.
You're good with that?
My only, I think it's excellent. What about, returning people that, okay, somebody's been on the, whatever, the CPC for, 3 years, their term is coming up, and they haven't, how do we get them to, redo the conflict of interest?
Well, if they haven't done it, they don't get reappointed.
Yeah, we've done that.
We've already done that.
Remember we.
I know, but it's hard to know.
She has it right here. The date they did it.
Right, so then
Right.
you get a list of appointments that I
How
prepared.
good, how long is that?
2 years. So, Mary, on the list of appointments, I think that's very good, that list that you have. But you have other people on here, like all these elected people. I don't know.
They stop after the West Newbury Housing Authority. That's where the elected people stop.
I just put everyone on
So
there.
it's the front
I
page.
wasn't.
The front page are all elected, and then it goes down to Marge Peterson, West Newbury Housing Authority. Because
Plus
that's an elected.
Right. Plus
So
there's,
take them all off, you want
That's
me
elected.
to?
No, I'll just keep them there. And then after that, it's all,
I think it's like, I don't know why we're keeping track of them.
doesn't really matter. Take them off. Those are elected positions.
Well, the whole thing is what I'd like to do is maybe share this document with the town clerk's office. We have a shared folder, so that when, someone comes in with a conflict of interest, that Diane can go into this file,
And update it.
update it, and so then it's being maintained.
Good
Well,
idea.
we do that now, it's just that
It's
she doesn't
different.
get it. Yeah,
Well, it's a different format,
yeah.
so I'm looking to,
Oh, you can put, yeah.
See, some people that are elected are also on boards that I don't think we should get rid of that. I think it's helpful to have that.
It's fine, it's more,
We-
it's there.
Okay.
We know who they're elected, so, I mean, it's good to
Right.
have that.
Okay. So the only thing I would add also is, so people that are up for reappointment, I mean, I'd like to know if they want to be reappointed or not before we just randomly reappoint people.
so this is list we can send out to everyone and ask them anyone
You,
who's up.
you could, the people that are up, you could ask them if they want to be reappointed, that their name could be submitted. And if you don't have their email, you could just send it to the chairperson of that committee.
So can I send out this report
This
with this whole report
to,
When you say
to
report,
the
what are you talking?
committees, commissions, and departments with the, application for appointment and say, okay, here's the list, this is what we've got. If you're expiring this year, then fill out the appointment application and submit it if you'd like to be reappointed.
Yes.
And also have everyone within your department, committee, commission, look at the, conflict of interest.
if
To
it's,
make sure we bring it up to date.
if it's more than 2 years old. You
Yeah,
need to-
that sounds a lot easier than it is, because a lot of these things don't meet either. You're send it out to them, they might not meet. So it might not be as efficient as you think it might be.
Right.
I bet you we could get a
No, I mean,
fair amount
I'm
of
not saying to you not to
response.
do it, you should do it, but.
I mean, I was just.
Yeah,
saying
so
that.
maybe send it to like the committee chairperson, or you're saying send it to everybody?
Well, I've been working on an email listing, as you know,
I would send it out to everybody, if you don't get people, then you send it out to
I'm
That
sorry, Glenn, I
way-
couldn't, you said you would, or?
Send it out to
Yeah, okay.
everybody. An email form is easy. If she had to send letters out to everybody, then that becomes a pain in the neck. But now that we're doing it in an email, you know, it's just, hey, would you, your appointment is up June 15th. Would you still like to be, would you like to be appointed again? Something like that.
Okay, fine. I have a couple of names I need to, I'll talk to you tomorrow or the next day of some edits.
Edits?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
All right, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next item is Memorial Day Parade and Ceremony.
Do you have a copy of this, Jen?
Nope. I don't know, do I? Is that what you sent me?
Did I put it in your packet?
Oh, was it in here?
This?
I don't know, I just did it last minute, so if not, I have an extra copy.
So,
Okay.
line up a parade. Oh, so this is the
Did you get
order?
it? No, I don't think I gave it to you. Cause it's, yeah, I've given her a lot.
Oh, no, we got moved back. We're in front of the muskets. That's not good.
That's my original, I'm not giving you the original.
Talk to Julie McCoy.
We got put right in front of the muskets. You're kidding.
See, I knew you would have
Talk to
some
the parade organizer.
Okay.
We used to be like way away from them.
No, they were right behind us.
They weren't right
before.
behind
They
us.
were, this is the same lineup as.
They were right behind
thought
us,
the-
the other,
The police
as
chief and the veterans.
2015 at least.
Jen, do you have the bio of the Grand Marshal?
I do.
Given her mostly every-
Chris,
I don't think we
impressive
were,
guy.
they were
huh?
like back a little.
Yeah.
no, they were right behind us.
Okay, you can work that out later.
So
Can we go
this
over
is what I've kind of come up
It's
with.
almost the end of the second quarter. It's tied game.
Oh, so now we want to move fast.
We're doing decorated bicycles.
What?
Want to go over this?
Anyways,
Oh, you want to? I want to add some things to this. The parade lineup. Where is it? Where are they?
What's he saying?
I don't know.
I'm looking for the decorated. Okay. So for in your thing, for her, for whatever, the decorated bicycles. Do you want to give awards out?
Diane is doing that at the post office prior to the
1, 2,
parade.
3.
I'm not exactly sure what she's gonna do. She-
Tell her tell her to call me. We'll have gift certificates to the Pizza House for the.
She's been getting stuff, so I'm not
Okay, then.
sure, but
You
I'll
know
tell
what?
her.
I'm gonna stay out of it. Got it. I'm staying out of
Well,
it. No, I'm out of it. I'm out of it. I can't help myself sometimes, but I have to. I have to control myself. I'm out of it.
I know she's already bought,
I'm out. That's fine. It's fine. Fine.
any concerns with the lineup?
No.
Then
Besides,
the training field agenda?
Are you? Whoever's gonna be the chairperson? This looks like it's gonna be different this year. How we're doing this? You feel comfortable with that? I'm gonna nominate you to be the chairperson, Archie. Hopefully it's been seconded, and hopefully we'll vote you in. So you feel comfortable with all this? This is something that I'm gonna welcome. What do you wanna do?
I always think that, Glenn, you're a better speaker at doing these things, so I'm more than willing to, whatever you would like to do.
So you want me to welcome everybody? I generally give a speech then. You want me to do that, or you want me to do something else?
No.
Would you like to welcome everybody?
No, I would love to have you do that.
Okay, and then, statement from the governor. Why don't you say that, because that'll be something read from the governor.
Okay.
Say that? Okay, and then, ask the veterans to please stand.
Archie can do that too.
Yeah, you wanna do that since you're gonna be standing there?
Yeah, okay, that's pretty simple, yeah.
And then the
yeah.
band will play the armed forces, thing, and then I'll get up and do the, people, you're gonna have that list of me? And with veterans?
Sure. Going with veterans?
You know what I mean, how we do with the veterans,
Oh,
so I
the
can say.
deceased.
Mr.
Where
Smith,
was,
veteran.
last year, I did a speech. Where's your, I forget what it was. Or was that the welcome?
That was my speech. Yeah, it was the welcome.
Oh, okay, never mind.
And then there's thank you at the end.
wanna do the
making a
thank you?
few
You wanna do
announcements.
the thank you, Joe? You wanna do
No,
the
it's
thank
like, you can do that.
You want me to do the thank you, or you wanna do the thank you?
No,
Archie,
I'll be a silent partner.
you wanna do the thank you?
You, go ahead, Glenn, you do that.
You want a list of,
Okay.
And then we're gonna have a list of announcements. The setup at the library, I guess we got John who will come in and work.
hold on,
that.
I'm sorry. What do you mean, then you'll have a list of announcements? When you say,
Then the list of announcements, you'll have the thank you, and then you'll read off the announcements. We're trying to get a jazz band from the Pawtucket singing group. I guess they're very popular right now. Diane's been trying to get them to play something over at the training field afterwards. And over near the memorials. And then also announce the rides in the fire truck and the cookout at the safety complex.
is there anybody that, the garden club can have their sign still up? So we can maybe incorporate it into a Memorial Day theme?
No, they don't have, we told them they have to take it down in 1 hour of the close of the show.
So, and
Okay.
We're gonna vote that, we're gonna approve that sign next year too.
Can I, that's fine, as long as it's done appropriately. Can I ask a question? When you say announcements, what is, I don't understand the definition of announcement. So after I say thank you to everybody, I'm gonna announce it, so, hey, everybody, part of thanking everybody, the Pawtucket Singing Group will be playing over on the training field. Please go and enjoy that. Maybe visit the memorial on the training field. There could be something there.
yeah,
Please don't forget the rides in the fire truck back to the safety complex. There's gonna be a cookout and an open house. Everybody's welcome.
yes.
Okay, perfect.
So
And,
I'll have
but
that
the
ready.
first two things are still kind of up in the air.
Pawtucket singing group, the jazz band.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that one is the only one that's up in the air.
But I would ask everybody to go over and visit the memorial and the training field.
There's, I guess, 3 of them over there. Dot
Yep.
told me about them, and they're
Yep, they are.
pretty great, I guess. So
Okay.
thank you.
Good. Next item is appointments. We don't have any appointments that I'm aware of.
No, we have one. Don't we have
We
one?
have
for the-
one.
We have one for the bicentennial committee?
Oh, yeah.
Mrs. G.
I'm not.
Do you have it? Can you read it? Oh, here it is.
Archie's gonna do it. He
I
pronounces it
move to
and then-
approve Krystelle
Christelle.
Christelle
Gruskevich.
Christelle Gruskevich.
her.
Mrs. G, as everybody knows.
Mrs. G.
at School.
Oh. To the bicentennial committee, and I'm just, so that we have all the terms consistent, they're 1-year appointments that we do every year, the bicentennial committee is, so through June 15th, 2017.
Second.
17.
Can't do 18.
Well, at this point, don't you think it wouldn't be,
Okay,
it would be,
okay, 2018.
yeah,
That's just gonna have more.
Fine.
Second.
yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to approve selectmen minutes, or meeting minutes of March 20th, 2017.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to approve the payroll warrant.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Move to approve the invoice warrant.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
I just had a comment about the invoice warrant. Not a problem with it, just a comment that this was for the cultural committee, and we're donating money to several different arts events. For example, the Newburyport Chamber Music Festival, lots of different events, all none of them in West Newbury. I wish we could generate some, especially with the bicentennial coming up, if we can, someone out there can think about things that we have funds, and we're donating to certainly worthwhile cultural art events but none of them are actually in the town of West Newbury, so
Thank you.
just
And
keep
I'd
that
also
in
add
mind.
People have applied who did not get funding or did not get funding.
Really?
And it went outside town, so I appreciate that.
Did we vote that? Yeah, we did.
Yes.
Okay. Placing items on future agenda.
One thing I'd like to do is have a letter sent to Scott Birkenberg, thanking him for his years of service.
Yes.
Fireman and on the board of fire engineers, and at one point being the fire chief. He has retired.
I thought they were gonna do like a ceremony for
Yeah,
him.
they are, but I still like.
Okay.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah, do we,
We'll do something more, but just a letter.
Scott Birkenbush, and do we also, just along with that, in the past, we've done, like when Mark Hemingway retired, we had a kind of proclamation
Yeah, that would probably be a full ceremony.
for the ceremony, yeah. So I don't know if you could find that in Chris's archives.
Proclamation. And what is, he was the fire engineer?
Fire chief.
Fire chief,
You can get all the stuff from Mike.
yeah. Thanks,
Fire-
Not that.
No,
Not that. I mean, unless I wrote it. I didn't write that.
His accolades you could get from Mike.
No,
Mike Dwight.
I meant like what's he been in? He's been
Oh, yeah.
fireman, he's been.
EMT.
EMT
Oh,
guy.
gotta cover it.
EMT,
Got it, yeah.
EMA.
Anything else, fun?
Yeah, I'd like to get the process underway about town manager.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to, set up a schedule, set up, what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do it, have a good discussion about that. I know there are some parameters that govern what we're going to do.
So let me just throw, not to talk about it, but just throw some things out. It'll probably be August or September at the soonest before we would get approval. Could be later also, but I don't think it'd be before August. So the things we need to work on right away are the job description, which is kind of done because it's in the legislation, but we have to formalize it. Salary range, I think we should appoint who we want on the search committee. It doesn't have to be done in the next few weeks because they don't need to get going until it's actually approved. And also potentially the ad to place so that when we get the legislation approval, we can just place that ad and then hand it over to the search committee.
Yeah, exactly. I want our homework to be done. I don't want
So,
us going around with a job description, and then the search committee comes, and they might even start trying to get their 2 cents involved in it. I want us to have everything done in place, and then.
Execute the search.
Exactly.
Yep, I agree.
And then hopefully, I look at a time frame that we get everything in place, and then we understand things, and that, have a person starting next fiscal year.
Oh, yeah. Next fiscal year.
Fiscal year.
Yeah, 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
A year from, because it'll take that long anyway.
Yeah. Anything else?
Do you think it's possible that it would be sooner than that, or no? The next fiscal year is a year from now.
No, I would think they'd be starting like well, it depends on the legislature.
Yeah, it
So-
all depends when that comes back. Then you
Yeah.
have we can do the homework, but it really doesn't get in motion until September.
So we're ready to go. So we know it takes at least 3 months to go through.
Oh, you're
that
talking about
process.
the next fiscal year, the next,
No, it's like September, October, November. We could have somebody in place January 1st.
that's what I was thinking. I thought you were talking about 18, 19.
But where's the funding for
Oh,
that?
okay.
We have to, that's another thing to put on the list. We would have to get, I would say, we're replacing the finance director role. So, I mean, the funding is appropriate for the finance director, not for the town manager. So we might want to ask fall town meeting for an appropriation from free cash to pay for the balance of
Supplement.
2018.
Have
And then,
enough in there.
and then actually have it as a line item going forward.
It needs to be a big discussion.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that there's overlap.
Yep,
Funds,
yep,
you know.
yep.
Okay. I just didn't want this, I want that.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
That's it. Future items?
Excuse me?
Future agenda items?
Good.
So I actually have a couple. So next time, Andy, Tony Roselli is going to come in with his annual audit.
On the 30th.
It's on on Tuesday the 30th, because I know there were some things in his management letter that we need to look at and talk about. Second thing is energy advisory.
Oh, right.
They had sent a letter about a municipal campus microgrid, I don't know, and they asked to come in. So I don't know how you guys feel about having them come in.
I had a hard time understanding it. Yeah, but
Mike, municipal, have they talked to you?
Nope.
Just have them come in, give them 15 minutes. Do you have that did you give us that management letter and all that stuff, or was it one copy?
We got it. It was emailed.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it was emailed.
I'll look at it. I never look at it. I just want to be ready.
so that's the energy advisory people.
Yep.
There, yeah. Yeah.
So on appointments, let's begin the appointment process next meeting, and maybe next meeting we could do all of the town employees or most of the town employees, and then the boards and committees over the next 1 to 2 meetings after that.
A lot of the town employees aren't appointed.
A lot of them are, though.
Yeah, so I'm a little confused on that.
Okay.
I'm gonna need a little direction.
Yep, no problem. No problem. So moving to the last item on the agenda, reorganization of the Board of Selectmen. I just want to make a comment first. I think we have worked very well together, not only this last year, but the last few years. And as a result of working well together, we've been able to accomplish a lot. We got hit kind of blindsided a little bit with lodging house regulations back in the beginning of the year. Understood them very quickly and were able to put a bylaw that town meeting approved. We held our tax increase this year to 0.9%, which I think that's a fantastic number. It's very low. And finally, I think our biggest accomplishment was change of form of government to the town manager, and we put a lot of work into that, obviously, and town meeting approved it with a near unanimous vote. I think there were only like 6 or 8 people out of 200 that voted against it, so that's huge. So moving on to the chairperson, I'd like to make a motion to have David Archibald be the chairman of the Board of Selectmen.
Second. How do you feel?
You guys have set the bar very high, but I will try to do it.
Raise it.
So I would like to, discussion?
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to thank Joe for obviously this year. You're very organized, and we got a lot of things accomplished because of your organizational skills and the way you, took the position of being chairperson serious, and I want to thank you for that.
I would totally second that.
And
Appreciate it.
Let's call it.
All in favor? Aye.
I'd like to make a motion that Joe Anderson is the,
Beat me to it.
what is it?
Clerk.
Clerk.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Just wanted to say that before they picked me.
I was just about to do it.
Good.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.